I'm Richard Redmond, host of The Play is the Thing. Tonight's story is titled Ever Young, written by Alice Gertzenberg. The setting is in a lobby of the Poinciana Hotel in Palm Beach, Florida. The story is about four ladies of wealth talking about staying ever young, everybody's dream, and about a lost love. To quote Norman Vincent Peale, live your life and forget your age. Due to the length of the play, it will be shown in two parts. Part 1 will be shown for 3 weeks, followed by Part 2.
No need to hurry through dinner, Agnes. There are plenty of chairs.
We missed our chance last night because you lingered over coffee.
Oh, I always linger over my coffee. I always did when Thomas, when he was alive. Our family always has lingered over our coffee.
In another moment, there would not have been a chair vacant.
Oh, put one aside for Mrs. Blanchard. I nodded to her just a little while ago in this direction when we came in from the dining room.
Oh, she will like this corner. We can see everyone who crosses the lobby.
How many sights, how many frights shall we see tonight? Really, Agnes, I wish you would give up wearing that old-fashioned jewelry. Why don't you turn it in and all that junk and get something really modern?
Oh, I've never had any desire to buy jewelry since my husband died.
Oh, but that was ages ago. I've had all my diamonds reset since Thomas went. I had my wedding ring melted and molded again into an orange wreath.
Oh, there's the bride who arrived today.
Where?
Over there, but near the fountain, in a very low gown.
I don't see her.
She moved behind the column.
Oh, I can't see her. Why didn't you tell me before the column got in the way?
If you were not so vain, Phoebe, you would wear decent glasses like mine.
Oh, indeed, I can see perfectly well.
Well, I don't blame you for using your old glasses. It does add distinction to your Poindexter manner.
Are you still impressed by my manner?
I have been for 50 years. Dear me, Phoebe, is it really 50 years ago since you and I were debutantes?
Shh! Don't let the hotel know that I'm 70.
No one guesses it.
I certainly don't feel it. But let me tell you, these young debutantes of today, with their supercilious airs, their sophisticated conversation, their smoking in public places, are not going to crowd me back into the grandmother's corner. No, I shall live another 20 years at least, if only to see these young things grow into the troubles of married life, and that will please me.
Why have you such animosity toward the debutantes? You terrorize them. Everywhere they sidestep for you in elevators, corridors, in the ballroom, on the beach. They put themselves out to be deferential to you. It's good morning, Mrs. Poindexter. Good afternoon, Mrs. Poindexter. Oh, good evening, Mrs. Poindexter. But they never see me, even though we've been here since the opening of the season.
It is because you don't create the atmosphere which demands their attention. I am putting on all the Poindexter airs I can think of to terrorize them. I want to make the debutantes and their smart young men sidestep for me. Their youth and their prettiness is no longer mine, but I hold over them the time whip. I am a dowager, a member of the society that once ruled New York, and does still to a certain extent, and they shall bow to me as long as I inhale one breath of life.
I do believe you are jealous of the present generation.
I am. I am fiercely jealous.
But we've had our own day, Phoebe. It is their turn. It's our time to sit back and give them a chance.
Agnes, You have kept your health, living on your assets in Long Island, but you have watched the inevitable drying up of flowers and leaves in autumn, and you have followed what seems to you the inevitable progress of autumn into winter. Well, my hair may be gray, but my blood is still red.
Your vitality is a marvel to everyone. Your club work, your civic and social leadership make even the doctors amazed at you.
My doctors are my worst enemies. They tell me I must not eat this, I must not do that. They tell me I am getting old, that I must rest, but I do not wish to rest. I simply won't grow old. When one has been a leader, one cannot let younger women usurp one's position.
You still have your leadership.
Yes, I still have it because I will have it, because I will not let it go. But I do have to strive harder for it every year. Every year I must grow more imperious, more dominating, more terrorizing to hold supremacy over this new, independent generation. Oh, there's that little presumptuous May Wiggum. She's 18 and so rude I should like to spank her.
They all fear you, Phoebe. Good evening, Mrs. Blanchard.
We have kept a chair for you.
Good evening, Mrs. Poindexter, Mrs. Dorchester.
Sit down, Mrs. Blanchard.
No, do not help me. I am about to throw it away.
Throw your cane away?
Yes, I am not going to need it in a week or so.
I heard of a woman the other day who dispensed with her cane.
Who was it?
That golf champion. What's her name? She's over there. The one with the burnt V in her chest. She told me all about a case, but dear me, I can never remember names.
Are you getting stronger, Mrs. Blanchard?
I must get stronger. I am tired of depending upon a cane. Everywhere I go, people are putting themselves out to be polite to me. Men help me. Women send their men to help me. Chauffeurs help me. Bellboys help me. Waiters help me. Debutantes help me.
Debutantes? I can scarcely believe that.
The debutantes hop around me like so many sandflies, all of them wanting to help me walk. I feel like swatting them with this. Their politeness to my infirmity is an insult. If only they would be rude.
Mrs. Poindexter was just complaining that they were too rude.
Rude they are.
Well, if they are rude to you, it's a compliment. They do not look upon you as old and decrepit. I resent their solicitude. In a day or two, I shall throw this old thing away.
Mrs. Blanchard. Oh,
It is no idle threat. I mean it.
But you told me you had used it 15 years.
So I have. And it is old enough to throw away. It is the oldest leg I have, and it is going to be thrown away.
Oldest?
Why, are you doubting?
My dear Mrs. Blanchard, you just said your cane is the oldest leg you have.
So it is.
Mrs. Dorchester would like to know just exactly how old the others are.
The others are just exactly not more than 9 months.
Oh,
9 months?
Do you think I should say 90 years?
isn't that a little closer to the truth?
But it is not the truth. The wonderful truth is that my legs are not 71 years old, that they are not more than 9 months old. I have been reading an amazing book.
What is it?
Oh. Truth and Youth. Wow.
This book says that every cell in our body is completely new every 9 months.
I heard about that. My daughter was reading a book about that. I forget what it was called.
Each cell reproduces itself according to the impression given to it by our subconscious mind. And as we grow old, we hold a thought of age and impress ourselves with that thought. But if we rid ourselves with the illusion of old age, we can remain ever young.
Well, Let me see about this book. Gee, I would pay a fortune for youth.
We do not have to pay for youth. We just have to think it and be it. It is very simple, they say, when you have faith.
What was that book my daughter was reading? Dear, dear, I can never remember names or titles or numbers.
Too much wool, Agnes. I tell you, you are growing old.
She does not look it.
But her mind is 150 years old.
Oh, not quite. I've had too many financial matters to attend to since my husband died to let me slip too far behind the times. But I believe in accepting old age with as good a grace as possible.
Rubbish. That is antediluvian. I am just beginning to learn to live. Do you know I have just obtained my divorce?
Have you divorced Mr. Blanchard after all these years?
Yes. After all these years. I suppose you know the story of my life. It was nationally commented upon when my daughter married the Duke of Cobray.
My St. Louis friends often mentioned you. That is why I was so interested in meeting you here this season. When my husband was alive, he used to hear things at the club.
No doubt he did. My husband has been notoriously unfaithful to me.
Oh.
I grieved about it for more than 40 years, and I never had the sense to get rid of him. Never had the courage until now. But now, it is all as clear as day to me. If I have been a fool for 40 years, must I stay a fool forever?
No.
No. I kicked over the traces with my wooden leg, and I am a free woman.
How odd to think of your willfully giving up your husband when we widows so wish ours back again.
Did your husband contest it?
My husband was amazed, indignant. He writes me imploring letters. He is old now and ready to settle down. Now, when he is ready to sit before the fireplace and watch me knit, I have played a trick on him. I am not ready to sit before the fireplace, and I would rather play roulette than knit. By the way, I gambled $300 away last night.
We left early.
That is, at midnight.
We rode around a bit before coming in. It was so balmy, and I just loved to ride in those chairs.
I suppose it was not quite the thing for two lone women to ride around in the moonlight at midnight, but the bellboy said everyone does it so at Palm Beach.
It was very romantic.
There is romance in every breeze through the palm trees.
I didn't come back to the hotel until morning. I stayed on and played, had breakfast there, came home without a ring on my finger, handed them over to security to a friend who thought it funny to take them.
We missed you on the beach this morning.
I slept until luncheon. I'm going back tonight and win my rings again. Starting with $500 tonight.
Oh, before you know it, you'll have gambled a fortune away.
I'm not worrying. I receive an amazingly high alimony.
Oh.
The court figured that I would not live long and that I needed much medical care. Well, I am not paying out any money for medical care, and when it comes to having a good time, I am making up for 40 years. I found only one man in my whole life whom I really loved,
Really?
and he was not my husband.
Oh.
I'll be shocked if you want to. I am free now and can speak of it.
What happened?
I have never known what became of him.
I can't imagine what it must be like not to love one's husband. I miss mine so.
I had been married only 4 months when I heard of my husband's infatuation for a married woman in our own set. He had married me only, it seems, to allay suspicion. Of course, I see now that I should have divorced him then and there. But I was very young, and it wasn't being done in those days. In those hours of my disillusionment, a dashing young lieutenant understood my despair and planned to arouse my husband's jealousy and so bring him back to me.
Oh, Phoebe, stop fiddling with your door key. It gets on my nerves.
Okay.
He succeeded in arousing my husband's jealousy. But meanwhile, I had fallen in love with the lieutenant.
Oh, and he with you, no doubt.
Yes.
Mrs. Blanchard, it is a life tragedy, but not a line of it shows in your face.
I wouldn't let it show in my face. I harbored a secret thought, a terrible thought, that my husband might die, that I might be free to find the other again, that then he should not see an old, wrinkled face after he cherished the memory of my youth.
Think of living like that all these years, when you might have had a divorce long ago.
It's humorous in a way, isn't it? That when women like you and Mrs. Dorchester are widowed, I had to put up with a husband who just wouldn't die.
Whatever became of the lieutenant?
He asked to be transferred to another post. He wanted to go as far away from me as possible. Finally, he was sent as far away as China, and there we lost track of him in the Boxer Rebellion.
And you never heard from him again?
No. The government reported him as missing. No doubt the Chinese took him prisoner. If he died, and I think he must have died, all these years I have imagined that he died. I have felt his spirit near me, guiding me, watching over me.
Do you believe he could be near you? I don't believe my husband is. I sit and knit and think of him, but the beyond seems nothing but void and silence.
Well, I believe in believing anything that helps you.
I can't get into communication.
Oh, I know Oliver Trent has never forgotten me. If he had lived or escaped, Oliver would have found me. I know Oliver died, and that his spirit has been lovingly near me these 20 years.
My husband and I loved each other deeply. That love, it seems to me, should hold us together even after he is gone. But I can't believe that it does.
Oh, it does, and it will, if you have faith. There is nothing but love. I am beginning to feel it deep within me, realizing it, and I feel warm all through. Oh, I shall put away these ancient legs.
Of course he loved you. I am sure he did.
If he were only alive now that you have your divorce.
So you see, my romance is only a shadow, only a thought. There is nothing tangible. I dared keep no letters, not one single token of his, only my thoughts. But those thoughts have kept me from going to pieces all these years.
And the thoughts have kept your face very young.
I would not let my face change if by some miracle I should see him again. I must be as he remembered me. But I couldn't control my body as well. I seemed to get wearier and wearier of life until I needed a cane to lean on. And then I doubled up on that, and here I am.
And here you are threatening to walk without it.
I will, too.
Good.
I will. I only sadden when I begin to think of the past. It's a bad habit. I shall not do it anymore. Only if I could be sure he died with me in his heart. I wouldn't mind so much as not being alive if I knew that all these years it has been he guiding me and not my imagination and self-deception, that he is near me all the time. If I could but know that.
I should certainly continue to believe that he remembered me.
I am sure he did.
I built my life upon my faith in him. If I should be robbed of this belief in his love for me, I think it would kill me.
But if you could have proof of his love...
Oh, if only I could have proof.
Oh, there's that beautiful Mrs. Courtney Page. I should like to know her better. Shall we invite her to sit with us?
Who is she?
Oh, that young lady over there with the interesting gown, and she's carrying a lovely fan. She's just coming out of mourning for her late husband.
Late at last? How many did she have?
Oh, the manicurist told me she had 3, and the clerk in the jewel shop told me only 1. They were appraising her pearls. She has such marvelous pearls. I'd love to see her pearls close up, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes. Do invite her over. I like to exchange data about husbands. Is she down here alone?
They say she came alone, but I've noticed her on the beach with 1 man, and in a wheelchair with another. She's alone now, though, and evidently looking for a place to sit. Call her over, Agnes.
But I don't know her, Phoebe. You call her.
Or don't you know her, Mrs. Payne-Dexter?
Well, I might pretend to. Oh, how do you do?
Oh, how do you do? You must pardon me. I don't recall the name.
Mrs. Payne-Dexter of New York. Don't tell me, Mrs. Courtney Page, that you have forgotten me.
Oh, yes. Mrs. Payne-Dexter, a name so well known. We met, I remember exactly, 5 years ago at the opera. Your box was next to the Carols. We were their guests one evening when my late husband and I were in New York on a wedding trip.
Why, yes, of course. How clever of you to remember. My friends, Mrs. Dorchester, Mrs. Blanchard.
How do you do? Won't you sit down?
Yes, thank you.
And now for a Shakespeare moment. A monologue from King Henry V, which takes place on a battlefield in England. The character is Shakespeare's Falstaff.
Press on, my royal rogues! Run them through! I have led my ragamuffins where they are peppered. Of my 150, there are not 3 left alive, and they are for the town's end to beg for their lives. I have escaped by miracle. Well, if I be not ashamed of these counterfeit soldiers, scoured to nothing from perpetual retreat, I am a soused herring. There is no more valor in these scarecrows than in a wild duck. Oh, there is my protege, sweet Prince Hal. God save thee, my royal Hal. I speak to thee. My heart. He calls me the tutor and feeder of his riots, but I care not. Before I knew that naughty varlet, I knew nothing. And now I am, if a man should speak the truth, little better than one of the wicked. Well said, Hal. To him, Hal! To it! Hey, you shall find no boys' play here, I can tell you. There is not a dangerous action can peep out his head, but we are thrust upon it. There are not 3 good men left unhanged in England. And one of them is fat and grows old. God help the while. And I would to God my name were not so terrible to the enemy as it is. Well, I cannot live forever. And yet, it was always the trick of our nation, if they had a good thing, to make it too common. Hey, soft. Who are you? Harry Percy, the Hotspur of the North. They called him the King of Honor. Well, there's honor for you. Here is no vanity. Says he, we owe God a death. Says I, 'tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What mean I to be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, no matter. Honor pricks me on. Hey, but how if honor should prick me off when I come on? Can honor set to a leg? Nah. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? Nah. Honor hath no skill in surgery then? No. What is honor? A word. And what is in that word, honor? Air. A trim reckoning. Who has it? He that died a Wednesday. Does he feel it? No. Does he hear it? Hotspur! Hotspur! Nah. 'Tis insensible then, yea, to the dead. But will it not live with the living? No. Why? Slander will not suffer it. Therefore I'll none of it. Honor is a mere scutcheon, and so ends my catechism. I like not such grinning honor as young Hotspur has. Give me life, which, if I can save it, so. If not, honor comes unlooked for. And there's an end.